Senator John Warner is the latest one on Capitol Hill, urging President Bush to start bringing some of the troops home. Just back from Iraq, the top Republican on the Senate Armed Services Committee wants the president to start bringing some of the troops home by Christmas.
Certainly, in 160,000 plus, say 5,000, could begin to redeploy and be home to their families and loved ones no later than Christmas.
Warner hopes the withdrawal will send a warning message to the Iraqi government that time is running out. Whether or not the new Iraqi government can get the job done seems to be the focus of an intelligence report just released. Here now to talk more about the war in Iraq and other things is 2nd District Congressman Mr. Joe Courtney. Congressman, thank you so much to be here. This
Thanks,
news
Shelley.
with Senator Warner is huge.
It is. He obviously carries weight within his own caucus, but also as a respected leader on the Armed Services Committee in the Senate. He's someone that carries bipartisan weight in terms of his opinions.
And what is it that you think will happen here, though? It seems like the White House is brushing off what he said, saying he's entitled to his own opinion. Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah, it's not that easy for them. I mean, a lot's coming together in early September. We go back September 4th. The Government Accountability Office is going to issue its report on the Iraq benchmarks, which the president set forth at the time the surge was initially announced. We've got the Petraeus report, which we just got notice on the Armed Services Committee, which I sit on in the House, that he'll be testifying on September 11th, along with Ambassador Crocker, to talk about the much.
Do you think that September 11th was done on purposely?
I mean, I don't know it for a fact, but it certainly seems that September 15th was what we had been told before. So, in any case, you know, the GAO report, the Petraeus report, and now the NIE report,
the intelligence report right,
all come together, and Congress has to vote again on funding in a relatively short time frame. The funds are going to run out for the war probably in January or February. So, you know, the White House really has not got control of this situation. Obviously, if Warner is now come around to the position that I think is the correct one, then they're going to have difficulty holding on to their votes.
Let's go to a few of the headlines having to do with this intelligence report. We'll go to the first graphic here. The one that I have anyhow has to do with Fox News, and it says the headline there was intelligence assessment suggests now is not the time to change the mission in Iraq. However, CNN says the intelligence committee has tepid faith in the Iraqi leader. Now, which one is it? Which headline do you agree with?
Well, I actually think you should read the report, and we all should. And the report states that this government is very precarious and in the next 12 to 16 months may collapse, which is certainly by all accounts recently with the Sunni parties withdrawing from the coalition. The fact that now we've got even the power stations in the country being run by militias, it just seems that the goal of the surge, which was to create a safe environment for political reconciliation to take place, I mean, that's the end game. It's just not happening. And, you know, you combine that with the fact that Maliki is over in Iran walking hand in hand with Amana Jihad, who, you know, is supposedly the guy supplying militias with these high-powered rockets that are causing American casualties. I think it's not too much for us as Congress to demand a better situation before we're going to commit troops a day more than they've already been there.
But what is your thoughts on the Iraqi government? Let's go to a quote quickly that Senator Lieberman had said. He warned against attacking Iraqi's government, saying that the struggling democracy that we have helped midwife into existence. So essentially it's a democracy that we as a country gave birth to, essentially. I mean, I know the Iraqi people did have a say in the voting process.
I guess if we're going to use the parental analogy, I mean, we also have a right to demand certain progress and benchmarks and growth from that government. And back in January, the president said we need to see as a benchmark oil revenue sharing. We need to see regional autonomy, which was the issue left undealt with by the Iraq Constitution. And there has been no movement. In fact, we're going backwards in terms of the political reconciliation, which, again, Petraeus and others have said is required if you're going to get any kind of stability in that country. So our troops have done their job as usual. Again, we can all be proud and grateful to the service that they've had, but the bottom line is that this was supposed to be a time when we were going to see movement politically within the country, and I don't believe can midwife forever, particularly as I think Senator Warner clearly recognizes, our troop strength has been exhausted by the length of this war.
Knowing what you know now, is this war in Iraq winnable?
Well, I think I guess it depends on what you mean by winnable. The question is whether or not we're going to have an easy, clean result is I think, something that no one can really predict right now. I mean, there's clearly sectarian migration occurring within the country, which is an awful, painful, terrible thing for any country to go through. The question is whether or not America's national interest is going to be served by 160,000 troops stuck in the middle of a civil war versus concentrating where I think the real threat is, which is in western Pakistan and in southern Afghanistan.
But at what point do you fish and cut bait?
Well, again, I think you have to look at what's our military capacity to continue at the levels that we're at. Again, I think Senator Warner, like others who've been over to Iraq, clearly understand that the lengths of deployments, the lack of rest time, we're seeing it in my district office with people in the district.
But if you had to gauge it, is the war winnable at this point? Yes.
Well,
or no?
again, I think it's time to redeploy out of a civil war. That civil war is not our war. That's something that's about their future that they're going to have to decide for themselves.
No, and I understand that. It just seems like it's a question no one really wants to answer.
Well, to me, the war we have to fight is the one to protect our country, which is happening right now in western Pakistan and southern Afghanistan, which the last National Intelligence Report, which just came out a few months ago, has described. That's right.
We only have about a minute left, Congressman. I know you want to come in here and talk about this bill that would guarantee the building of more subs in Connecticut. Where does that stand?
The last vote before the August recess was the defense spending bill. And having started on this issue from day one as a new member of Congress, we did get the full funding, the real dollars, to match the goal of getting a second submarine with advanced procurement. And
this would be huge for Eastern Connecticut because it would guarantee the building of more subs. However, by no means is this the end of the road.
Well, the Senate has to act, and but Senator Inouye from Hawaii, who came and visited Groton, has publicly committed to joining us in this effort for a more robust shipbuilding schedule.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 meaning you think that this will go through?
I mean, I think it's between 5 and 10 now. I think we've gotten past the halfway mark.
We do have one minute left here. Any other final thoughts? I was trying to wrap you up.
Okay. Well, again, the other effort, which I think we also worked on at the end of the July period, was the health care issue, extending the children's health insurance program, adding 5 million children to be added and covered through Husky, as we call it here in Connecticut. The president, unfortunately, is threatening to veto that measure, and when we go back in September, that's a fight that we're going to rejoin with the administration.
So this is something that you want to bring to the forefront here, but, Democrats had said that they were going to get a lot done when they took over control of Congress. Do you feel as if
Well, we've passed our budget bills. We've gotten SCHIP, the children's health insurance, done. We've got the second sub. I mean, we're doing our work.
Raise minimum wage?
Raise the minimum wage, increase Pell Grants for college students, increase Title I funding for local school boards, which they're going to be hearing about just as the kids return to school in September. So there is real progress. We need to do more. The town hall meetings I'm having out there, people have a lot of challenges ahead of them, and they need a Congress that's going to be on their side.
All right, Congressman Courtney, thank you so much for
it's a pleasure.
spending some time with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks.